Feeling good, feeling good. I'm down that I'm cool. I'm really excited to have these two Ubers here. Reshiram and Genesect. Damn. I'm very excited. And then it's GG's. Can't really say much. He did a great job. Good set, leading off. Didn't have anything for it. If I had Psyshock, I for sure would have been able to bring this out, but that's my own fault. To not have Psyshock on my Pokemon, on my Alakazam. But we're gonna lose round 1 in the playoffs to a really good coach. I hope that Q is able to go the entire way through, and then we'll see. Thank you guys so much for support this season of the BBL. I'm sorry that I couldn't pull out a championship out of my ass. We were doing really well the entire season. I know there's gonna be a quick turnaround. I really hope that I'm invited back for that next season, so we can avenge ourselves. We wanted to win this season pretty bad because our buddy Just Kurt ended up winning the previous season, and he won with the team that we gave him when we had to drop. So it would have been a cool little Cinderella story to win the following season with ourselves, with the team we drafted and piloted the entire way through, but fortunately it didn't come to fruition. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Hey, hi, hello there. How is it going? I'm the Grandmaster, but you can call me D-Ray, your coach of the San Diego Spirits. And I'm returning. I'm back. I was gonna go, but I got pulled right back in. I'm super excited to be taking part of the new season of the Banlist Battlers League, the BBL, aka the Big Booty Latinas Draft League. If you're excited for this Wi-Fi Draft League season, do me the massive favor and rage fist that thumbs up button. And if you're new, por favor, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, and hit the bell button so you get notified every single time we post a new video. That small amount of time takes for you to hit the like and sub button really truly does help me out a lot, so go ahead and smash that for me. We're gonna talk about the team, what we drafted, why we drafted it, and so on and so forth. A little bit of our 2 cents of what we were thinking about during the draft, and showing you guys what we have. So welcome to all the new folks coming from PokeMMD's stream. It was a good time. I hope you guys were able to watch that. That was really fun. That's a good trio there with Nexus, Joey, and Owen. So very excited to be participating, like I said, this season. For this league, I believe I don't even remember what pick we were, but we were close enough to get the one Pokemon that I really wanted, because in the previous season that was in the BBL, we did make playoffs and had an unfortunate early exit from our boy Q the Costa Rican, and we shredded that season with Reshiram. So since they decided to allow this Pokemon, I did want to go ahead and pick it up. So that was our first pick. But before we get into our Pokemon, this is an Ubers draft league, meaning that everybody has an X amount of points and you can only pick an X amount of Ubers per team. There's platinum tiers, gold tiers, silver tiers, etc. So depending on how you organize your draft is how those picks are going to come about. We ended up with just 1.5, maybe I would say 2 full Ubers in 3 Pokemon separately, but we'll talk more about that. So without further ado, our very first pick is going to be Kyurem-White. Kyurem-White is going to be very broken. Very broken. Sorry, my sons are here. very broken. I lost my train of thought. Shout out to Roman. Kyurem-White is fantastic. Dragon Ice typing. This is going to be the big brother version of Reshiram. Having access to things like Freeze Dry is crazy. Being able to be super effective on water types, and having the coverage for ground types that are going to resist our Dragon and Ice Stab and like Earth Power and Fusion Flare, which is super nuts. It does get access to Scale Shot this generation to boost our speed, or we can go crazy with Dragon Dance because it does have a crazy attack stat of 120. But this 170 attack is absurd. This is nuts, guys. Like, come on. I'm super excited to just click buttons with this Pokemon. Being able to just run literally any combination of Freeze Dry plus Dragon Stab plus Earth Power or Fusion Flare coverage move is going to be so nice to literally click buttons and do immense amount of damage to whatever my opponent wants to come in. This is crazy. Being a dragon type, it's got so many resistances, which is really cool. I can run things like heavy duty boots to be immune to hazard damage, mainly stealth rock, which would be really cool. I cannot terrestrialize with this Pokemon. That is a given, but with base 95 speed, this Pokemon is going to outspeed the vast majority of the Ubers that are allowed, because the majority of them are base 90 speed, which will be really nice to be able to outspeed and do immense amount of damage to those mons. So I'm really excited to have Kyurem. The first half of the next Uber that we got was going to be Deoxys-Speed. I wanted to capitalize on this Pokemon really early to be able to take advantage of this. Base 180 speed is literally the fastest Pokemon in the draft outside of Regieleki, but that Pokemon is bad. So I wanted to take this mon to be able to outspeed my opponent, and I don't really have to invest very much speed to outspeed the majority of my opponent's teams, which allows me to invest mainly in bulk, which is fantastic. It's got a great move pool. It's got 95 attack, and it's got 95 special attack, which means it could be a mixed attacker. We could do things like Psycho Boost to get in the crazy stab damage option, as well as the other psychic type moves. It does get access to things like Ice Beam, which is really clutch. I have access to some support moves and Taunt, also both Spikes and in Stealth Rock, which is fantastic to be able to rely on this fast setter. That way I don't get taunted and get those hazards up automatically. It doesn't get access to Toxic Spikes, which is unfortunate, but nonetheless this Pokemon can still do a whole bunch of really cool support options. Access to Extreme Speed is really cool. Very good coverage, like I said. Focus Blast for the Psychic types and the Dark types, which would be fantastic. We also have Knockoff to be able to remove our opponent's items. Meteor Beam to boost our special attack. Nasty Plot as well. A lot of really cool options with Deoxys-Speed, but we wanted to ensure we have a Pokemon that could be outspeeding our opponent's entire team without having to run Choice Scarf, which is going to be super cool. And then the next pick, I had to take this Pokemon. Deoxys and Kyurem were going to be necessities for the team, but since this Pokemon was allowed, I had to redraft my son. Welcome Annihilape, that has a free Terra option, which means that it can terrestrialize into any type, which makes this Pokemon immensely broken, and the reason that it was banned to Ubers in the first place. And access to Defiant, and this move that makes it ungodly broken is Rage Fist. Every time Annihilape gets touched with a move, it gets a plus 50 power for each time the user gets hits, a max of 60, meaning that it caps out at 350, which is huge. It does have Drain Punch to help keep it nice and healthy, access to setup and bulk up. It's got good coverage options in Earthquake, things like Poison Jab for fairies. Very good Pokemon, and being able to terrestrialize defensively to any type or offensively is really nice. But it does get ironically an access to Stealth Rock, which is cool, with Choice Scarf pairing off with Final Gambit. That'll be really nice for some matchups to literally just eliminate an Uber Pokemon that doesn't have enough HP to survive a hit. So I can just auto delete the Ubers that are on my opponent's team is going to be fantastic. A lot of them do have some bulky, chunky HP stats, but nonetheless, being able to have that opportunity to have that just in case would be really nice. Encore is there for a really nice support move to lock in a defensive Pokemon into like a recover, and being able to bulk up in front of it is fantastic. This Pokemon is crazy. I'm really excited to have Annihilape. I feel like I supported it really well, and I think that it's going to go crazy this season. Next up, we decided to get some Mickey stuff. We did go with Kyurem, that's an ice type, and there was a big buff this generation with ice types in the snow to be able to get a big boost in its defense. So being able to pair our dragon ice type, we got a fairy ice type in Alolan Ninetales with access to the ability Snow Warning. Every time it comes into the field, the snow gets up, which gives the defense boost to Kyurem as well as Ninetales. Also having access to Freeze Dry and things like Moonblast, which is fantastic. Great stab options, and also access to Aurora Veil. Aurora Veil is going to be really nice to help us mitigate enable Annihilape to be able to set up bulk ups and get better opportunities to boost those Rage Fists, which would be really nice. So Alolan Ninetales was a fantastic support fit here. Also hits a really cool speed tier, can't speak, of 109, which is really nice. So this is a really good Pokemon to slot in with the mons that we have right now. And then next up, I wanted to get another bulky option to help us get in Annihilape and also to get in Kyurem because there are no pivot options in Deoxys, so we decided to go ahead and bring in Slowking. Slowking with access to chilly reception this generation is a fantastic pairing with what we have going on. A basic slow pivot move to be able to summon the snow to get the same boost that we talked about before is fantastic. Great stab options in Scald, being able to have that 30% chance to burn is elite on physical attackers that want to come in, especially water type Pokemon that are physical attackers. That'll be really cool. Access to things like Future Sight to be able to force our opponent to think about bringing that dark type, which would be really nice. And Slack Off for longevity, which is fantastic to have a bulky pivot and help keep it nice and healthy. But this all pales in comparison to its broken ability and Regenerator. Every single time it comes out and switches in and out, it gets 1/3 of its max HP back for free, which is nuts. So having a bulky pivot is really good on a team like this. And having a bulky pivot is what I was thinking about this next round in Cyclizar, being able to come in on those ghost type moves for Slowking and having access to the ever important Rapid Spin. Rapid Spin is going to be stab on our Dragon normal type Cyclizar that allows us to remove hazards from our side of the field, which is going to be huge. I always prefer to have Rapid Spin over Defog to ensure that we don't remove our hazards that we set on our opponent's side. This Pokemon has a fantastic speed stat of 121, so we got 109 with Ninetales, we have 121 with Cyclizar, and 180 with Deoxys-Speed. We have fantastic speed tiers right now. We have great U-turn option here. We also have knockoff to be able to remove our opponent's item. We have access to shift gear in case this Pokemon wants to be a setup sweeper with Ninetales, which is a really cool option to have. And it's another part of our Regenerator core. Being able to get our 1/3 health back every time we switch is fantastic. So Cyclizar is a really good fit here, and I'm really excited to use this. Next up, we wanted to, I also did want to mention Shed Tail. This move, broken, it is banned, unfortunately. And we thought, you know what, might as well just get the other one. Let's get Earthworm. So another Shed Tail user that cannot use it. However, this is going to serve as our ground immunity for the team. Its broken ability in Earth Eater paired off with this incredible typing of Pure Steel is really, really nice. Being able to be immune and actually get healthy from earthquakes or any kind of ground type moves that want to come in on Earthworm is fantastic. It does get really cool utility in iron. It does get, utility in setting up hazards in Stealth Rock and in Spikes to be able to help alleviate that pressure off of Deoxys-Speed, as well having access to Iron Defense and Body Press, which is a really cool combo on a Pokemon like this. Its stabs are really awesome in Heavy Slam, and it does have Iron Head as well. But this Pokemon being able to set up and hit really, really hard is fantastic. Steel Beam in case I want to, get that health off so I can get up my hazards, use a Steel Beam, get a big hit off, and then, faint in the term and being able to get Kyurem in, which would be really nice. So Earthworm was going to be a really crucial part because of that ground immunity. So because we have that ground immunity, we had to get a little bit more speed to get right over that base 101. So we decided to go ahead and bring the Paradox Pokemon Sandy Shocks. We have Sandy Shocks here that has access to photosynthesis as always. With the booster energy, I can automatically activate the photosynthesis boost. That'll give me 30% on attack, defense, special attack, or special defense, depending on which one's highest. But if it is speed, then I get a 1.5 times boost, 50%, which is really cool. But this giving me access to another form of Stealth Rock and another form of Spikes is fantastic. Volt Switch for stab, pivot, momentum is great. Coverage and Power Gem, as well as Tri-Attack, just like as if it was Magnezone or Magnezone, which is really cool. But Sandy Shocks is here to be a breaker with his fantastic stabs and really high special attack stat. And being at 101 speed is really cool, so I think that Sandy Shocks is fantastic. I've used it once before and I absolutely loved it, and I felt like it was a really good fit here. So we wanted to get a little bit more bulk to the team and another access to removing hazards. So even though we talked about we don't really like Defog too much, I think it's still really viable. So we do have Talonflame. Talonflame having access to Defog just in case. Fast Will-O-Wisp at base 126 is super valuable in my opinion because a lot of physical attackers do not want to get burned, and having their attack stat is really huge. Access to Roost for longevity, and as well as this really good ability in Gale Wings paired off with Heavy Duty Boots. Being able to ignore the hazards and having myself always at full, allowing myself to get Stab Brave Bird priority or Stab Hurricane priority. Also Dual Wing Beat, which is really, really nice. Dual Wing Beat. So This Pokemon I think would be a really good utility fit for the team, allowing us to really cripple our opponent, remove hazards from our side, and have a really bulky pivot and a really fast pivot, which I think is super valuable in a draft league. Next up, we decided to take Skuntank. This is going to be our grounded poison type, which means a poison type that is touching the ground. Skuntank is very important to be able to come in and just soak up toxic spikes that are set up by my opponent, as well as set them up ourselves, which would be really nice. We do have Stab Knockoff, which is fantastic. We did lose Defog this generation, unfortunately, but that's okay. That's okay. We do have access to have both lines of attack and special attack, having access to Dark Pulse as well. And we also have coverage and overheat. Oh, this thing got rid of it. We have Flamethrower. I didn't really know that I didn't realize that they lost overheat. That's crazy. Flamethrower, which is really good. And then having access to Fire Spin, Fire Blast, which is really cool. Foul Play for stab, which is fantastic. Haze to be able to remove the stab boost from my opponent. Gunk Shot for some strong stabs. Very good options here. I think that Skuntank is very underrated, and I think that it's going to be doing really well for us this season. We really needed a dark type. The scary psychic type Uber in this league is Mewtwo, so good luck, Skuntank. We'll see what we can do. Last but not least, we had 3 points left over. We picked up Clefairy. Clefairy, having access to the ability in Magic Guard, is really nice to ignore hazards. But there's one real main reason that I wanted Clefairy, and that was for Healing Wish. In a format like this, being able to basically revive one of our Pokemon is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I don't say revive in the sense of it being knocked out, kind of like Revival Blessing, more so that it's taken so much damage that it basically has been sacked. So for example, if Kyurem has like under 10%, is still hanging on a thread, it's still hanging on the thread, and then Healing Wish allows us to switch it in after Clefairy goes down, and then allows it to go back to full HP and then taking the hazard damage, which is fantastic, being able to have that in a Clefairy that can still do things like knock off and still do things like Stealth Rock, can keep itself nice and healthy, which is fantastic. So I think there's some good utility here in this Pokemon, and having it be the last Pokemon on our squad, I think it'll bring some value. So that is the team for this season of the BBL. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I'm looking forward to this season. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of really cool characters here playing this season, and it's going to be phenomenal. I'm really excited. It's been a little bit since I played a little bit of Draft League on Wi-Fi, and I'm happy to shake off the cobwebs in being in such good company. So hope you guys did enjoy this video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. With that being said, I'm gonna get the heck up out of here. Have a great rest of your day, and above all else, be nice. Peace.